Okay, so this is my first time checking and removing the intake manifold from my 3.2 Audi TT. So obviously airbox removed and all that. Then take off this outer hoses connected to it, which is pretty easy. This box which sits on that bolt over there, loosen that one before you're done. Remove this piece, it gives you access to these bolts slightly easier. On this side I haven't done anything yet. I also removed that bolt over here, same on the other side, and there in the back usually is a bracket that connects there, and then it connects to the side. I removed that bracket as well, and that's how far I got. Oh, I removed this hose. So basically all the hoses from this engine kinda are removed. I'm just going to try loosen the bolts on it, which is with one of these, and in case a longer one as well. Got almost every bolt loose. The hardest one for myself is that one over there. It's hard to see, but there's a bolt right there, which is out of reach of everything. After a bit of wiggling, I have the intake manifold off, but it is kinda annoying to actually squeeze it out, so I'm trying to figure that out. So, intake manifold removed. Quite a bit of space, if you can see, and should be a lot easier to work on. So got it all off and cleaned the head space where the manifold matches a bit. To fit the intake manifold, the only way in the Mark II TT to actually have this working is by pointing the throttle body this way. Then remove this bracket that sits right there. This hose goes to my aircon, has to be relocated. Well, it kind of has to go underneath there to fit, and then back there. There is something else I want to discuss. Ignore my valve cover because it's cleaning and all. What I want to discuss is, you see this pipe. It basically covers your intake part. What I'm thinking is there's a way, if I buy a new 90-degree hose, cut it off. I don't want to use this one. I rather buy a new one. Cut it off so it will. See, the pipe starts somewhere there. If I cut this off, so the 90-degree goes instead of here, it will go down as tight as it can, and then when we are somewhere in like this section here, we will go with the 90-degree that way. Can even make it longer and go around there. It doesn't make a difference, but where you want to be is there. So I think if we make even this pipe over there a very short 90-degree, making it, or maybe 120, whatever, but you want to go, either want to go this way so it doesn't cover that pipe over there, and then you want to go this way, or, and that's what I'm thinking, I will point this one slightly down, which will make it here, and then I will go either around this way, or I will go down and I will go in between these two pipes because there's so much space right there, and then match it up somewhere there, which means this whole intake section will be no more issue. Then this is actually for another video, but just to give you an idea, this water tank, I don't like it. You see all these hoses there, right? These are pretty simple, pretty straightforward. This thing will move as well, but it's all straightforward. I was thinking there's no need for this thing to be there. There's one hose there, right? There's one hose that's there, and that comes from there, which is a 90-degree and can rotate. So what I'm going to do is because this will be deleted as well, I will actually rotate this slightly, put this one slightly up, put this pipe underneath, and the new cooling tank is sit right here in this section. It needs to be as high as that, I would suppose, but it should be sitting there, which will make all these hoses smaller, and in my case they won't go over and near the turbo. To make this functional, I tapped it with an M18 by 1.5 and goes right through. I had to make this hole a wee bit bigger, but as you can see, it goes nicely through, and that would save me some welding. Part of this catch can and PVC setup, that's the catch can I got. It's a very simple one from eBay, 20 quid in pounds, and it's this one actually can't. Normally you can take like the fittings off, but this one you can't. Not really big issue. Basically it sits around that, and pretty straightforward. It has some holes. This is for the bracket, so you have to drill a hole or two, whatever you want in there. Then there's some space here at the top if you need, for whatever reason, another bracket on some side or so. So yeah, this is 19 mil in, 19 mil out. The only thing about this is I have 19 mil in, but I'm going to get 22 mil out. So I need some adapter, I guess, from either from 22 to 19 with a wee bit of pipe, or I need to get all the 19 and go 22 or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's 19, 22 is not much different, but enough different that you can't fit a 19 around the 22, I suppose. Depends on what hose I'm getting. If I'm getting a flexible one, I can heat it up and squeeze it around. It's only 2 mil, 3 mil actually. So it might be a bit hard, but yeah. So this is the one, easy, and you just screw it off, and that's it. So I've been playing with the oil catch can setup. So there is a hole right there. I'm not sure what it's for, but I decided that I can use it to put a rev nut in there, and yeah, just use it. Bend the bracket a bit. This is basically an angle bracket. I bend it and then I squeezed it and use these two, and then over there. And, can use maybe something additional. I might swap it to an M10 maybe at one stage, but for now this will work. I can always make something underneath here to make it more stable, but don't think I need it really. So what I will do is I will get in, when I get this fitting in and cut this off, I will get a 90 degree that will basically yeah, it goes from straight from there to there, and then kind of like a fitting in between, or like a coupler that will go that way, and then this one will go down to the turbo. Here we got the fitting on the M18. Fits perfectly with the washer, and as tight as it can be. One thing, do not remove this. You can make it bigger, you can do all that stuff, but don't remove it. It will dump oil straight to your intake. I've learned the hard way. Let's talk about the brake booster setup here for a second. So this is the one that comes with the intake manifold, and this is the one that usually sits in between the. Okay, it's kinda like the on the car. I can actually show you because I have the pipe here. So it's this one, and that one clicks in like that, and then this goes to the intake manifold. So this is the brake booster. This is the other side of it. And as you can see, there's this whole pipe. So the brake booster will sit something like that. But since the intake manifold is in the middle and all these pipes not going that way, I would advise to loosen all these pipes. These pipes are pretty hard plastic, and they are 10 mil. So you can't just take them off from this. You have to use the heat gun, be very careful not to destroy anything, and take the pipe off like that, which I did on this side and I've done on that side. I don't need this anymore, by the way, because I'm going to change it. But if you do want to use the same route of things, you would have to take this off, put your own 10 mil hose on there and connect it to there. But I think it's a bit of a waste to go all the way around, and if I can go to the other side of the engine bay and connect it straight to this. So that's what I'm going to do. And don't forget that you need this one, and it says here which side has to go to the motor and which side goes to the brake booster. This is a one-way check valve. So here are the pieces of all the pipes: brake booster, check valve, extension pipe if you really want to, and the one that goes to the engine. To fit this intake manifold and make everything working, you need some kind of construction like this. So this goes to intake manifold, 90-degree, brake booster. Make sure that this part points to where the engine is. It will tell you motor. It's really hard to see, but motor that way, which is intake manifold. Then this piece of pipe that I used. Then I have another 90-degree somewhere laying, which will connect to the rest of the system. Here you have the manifold with all the clamps on. Need one here, and then rotate that to point the correct way. The other thing you need is this one, which is a MEF housing extension, but as you can see, it's missing a pin. The reason is because this side is missing the air temp, which means that you would want to make a pin on this side. That pin should go to this. Here's the sensor all plugged in. I used the washer and fender washer, and then that will perfectly seal. Just put this silicone hose on to get an idea, because it's raining outside. So it was hit like that, that way. So the hose points kind of this way for now. I'm not even sure if this is the right way though, but just playing around because I can't do much outside now. Here we got the other part of the PVC system. Bought this. I made the inside a wee bit bigger in that sense. Because I didn't have a 22 mil hose, I will put some glue around this, and this will go back to the intake, which normally goes before the turbo, but in my case it goes after the map sensor. This gives you an idea about the PVC system. Engine, catch can, back to the intake, and I'm reusing this one, which kind of goes like that, and it goes to the intake. Pretty straightforward. But in a turbo setup, this goes just before the turbo. Same way, by the way, that turbo sits here. Easiest way I figured to put that manifold back is by taking off the injectors. I've tried earlier in the clip to do it with the injectors on, and it's absolutely annoying. This way is a lot better. The car once again, good sign. There is one little thing that you have to think of when you put this manifold on. When I put this on, I didn't put the gasket on. See, as you can see there, there's literally nothing there, just a rubber that you got with the intake. But this works fine, there's no problem with that. However, to get maximum performance, you need another gasket that goes between the manifold and the head, because this gets really hot. And you can buy from Germany, I think it is, you can buy a spacer, 5mm spacer, which will lower the intake temperatures on the car as well, which I am going to buy, because don't get me wrong, this works perfectly, but it will be helpful to just have that. First impressions driving with the new intake. So, went for a test drive in sport mode, 5 mode, everything. So, no turbo manifold. It drives the same. Can't tell you any 0 to 60 times in that because, well, I haven't done them, to be honest. But in general, this setup works. The power band moved to about 4500, but it also seems to rev a lot quicker going there. So there's no more low end, high end torque, it's just power. And yeah, it definitely moved the power band up a lot, which isn't a big problem because normally you have turbo. But with driving slow, there's no issue whatsoever. But at my first drive, I had to connect all these sensors, so I will make them work at one stage. Same with that one, I might just hide it somewhere. It's mapped out, but just so it doesn't give any errors, I might put that one somewhere. But in general, it's not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to remove this thing, and there are, let me see, there's one bolt there, one bolt right there, and that one in the bottom. Here we have the secondary air pump removal. It's basically this plate, and just 3 bolts, and it removes the whole system. But there is, I had to reload this coolant hose, and because of the turbo setup I'm doing, I kind of decided to go this way, go down, and go up there, and then around here. There might be a way to go down that way, but for now this works. And the other thing is it keeps it away from the turbo setup, because the turbo will go sit here and it will go down there, which means that these hoses will stay away from here. You can point this up a bit like that, but I think the more down it is like that, the better it would be for the turbo. Anyway, so this is the secondary air pump removal, and normally you would get a hose there, but I tapped all this with AN fittings. And then here for me there's a little T-piece. I connected to this, which is going nowhere. It's because I broke this one here, and I'm getting a bung welded on there so it can connect straight there. However, because of the space, I'm kind of debating what I'm going to do. Most likely I'm going down here and then all the way here, around the back of here, and then all the way and then up there, so it stays away from all the turbo bits. So it's a bit longer than usual, but it works, and this should work as well. So that's the secondary air pump removal. Here's my intake manifold, as you might know, and a few things has changed. So this hole I had to make slightly bigger, like literally a mil, to fit the temperature sensor. If you see my previous clip, I had like a spacer, sensor, spacer, and then a bolt. So what I did is I made it like literally a little bit bigger, but now it seals perfectly in here, which means that I don't need a spacer anymore. It's all sealed perfectly. The other thing is this one. So before I used this as my brake booster, and with like a pipe in and that way, and it worked fine. But now I got this. So on this side is an M26 bolt, and this is a 3/4 MPT fitting. Strangely enough, it fits, and I had to use a 32 mil big wrench to put this on. It's literally that one, where it's hanging on that one. Put it on, I put my feet on it just to so it's sealed, because it fits, but it's really tight, and because the N34MPT, slightly different. It's literally very close, but slightly different than the M26 fitting that should go in here. But it seals, and this fitting came with a wee like rubber ring. Well, it's not rubber actually. It's just a slight space, as you can see there. It's all sealed. But I'm going to ask my welding guy if he can just put a slight welding circle around this, making sure that it's perfectly sealed. Now, this I'm not using right now anymore because well, I don't need it. And I bought this. This goes on right there. And this gives me a map sensor. Now, this map sensor is all fine and what it should do, but someone on the RMS forum told me, what if this is too high? And they had a point. So I'm going to ask my welder if he can cut this off as much as he can, or basically it's this maybe sitting flush like that. With the space that I have and how big this is, he could almost make this as flush as possible. If that's the case, then we can weld that on it, and that's my map sensor location done.